up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Today, y'all, I'm coming with another video. I did something a couple weeks ago called Let's Chat. I want to continue adding to this Let's Chat series because I feel like I have so much going on. Like I told y'all before, I have so much going on in my head that I'm just like, sometimes I really need to get it out. And then also I realize that the times when I do want to get it out, it really does help somebody. So I definitely want to have more open discussions, more open dialogue between people, because I feel like a lot of us in ways go through the same things, but we're not in a space where we can openly talk about these things, or it's cliche, or we want to deal with things alone, or we don't want any help. We don't, you know, the whole nine. We can talk ourselves out of a lot. So I definitely want to like create a space where we're able to really just have these types of conversations. And also I just want to be a resource to other people and let people know, girl, sis, bro, whoever you are, you're not the only one that's going through it. And there's productive ways to deal with different things that you're going through without, you know, just isolation. And I just think majority of people are. I know I'm an isolator. Like sometimes when I'm not myself or I'm going through things, I tend to isolate myself. I don't want anything to do with anything. And I just don't think that's the best space. And especially coming from a place now where I'm happier, I'm doing things that I want to do. I'm really like becoming my own. I'm finding my own lane. I've always been in the space of wanting to find my own lane, and I feel like I'm finally finding it. And I just want to help the next person, the next sister, the next brother, whoever. So definitely, definitely stay to the end of this video. I just hope you guys stay to the end of this video and comment down your thoughts. Don't be afraid. Y'all know I respond to the comments. I'm here for y'all, and let's get started. So first, y'all, the topic today, if you haven't already seen by the title, is, to sum it up, seasonal depression, y'all. So seasonal depression, I'm gonna just give you my quick rundown of what I feel like seasonal depression is. A point in time where I would consider it as a place that when you're in a funk for a short period of time, but it's typically the same time every year. Even if it's not the same time every year, it's just a point in time where you're pretty much in a funk. Like, to sum it up, that's how I've always considered seasonal depression, is just when you're in a funk. It looks different for everyone, don't get me wrong, but definitely just a space, a short period of time, typically 2 to 3 months. Typically when it's darker, typically when it's less sunlight, typically when the days are shorter, typically when things are harder, time of the year, where you're not yourself. You're going through different moods, you're going through different thought processes. Things are just weighing really heavy on you. So that's pretty much how I sum up a seasonal depression. I always consider it pretty much a funk. But I'm gonna give y'all a quick definition on Google, because I definitely wanna make sure I'm being inclusive to everyone and just let people know like what this is if you aren't aware of it. The reason I'm doing this, y'all, is because it's not as common as speaking about it. Like, there's a lot of people that probably doesn't even know what seasonal depression is. There's a lot of families that don't even talk about depression. They're like, what is that? I don't even know what that is. You like, get out my face. You ain't going through no depression. What you depressed about? There's so many ways to just be dismissive about this topic that I think it's important to really just put it out there. So y'all, Google says that it's a form of depression, a mood disorder characterized by depression that occurs at the same time every year. Also says it typically occurs in climates where there's less sunlight at certain times of the year. Symptoms include fatigue, depression, hopelessness, social withdrawal. This is not a funny topic, but like, I really can't say the word. Social withdrawal. Yeah, so that's typically how Google sums it up. And kind of going into like how I defined it, I definitely want to make it clear that like anyone can go through a seasonal depression. And it's not people with less money. Don't think that people with a lot of money don't have seasonal depression. People that have families, that are married, that have kids, don't go through seasonal depression, disorder, like anything like that. This is not exclusive to one type of person. It's actually very much more common. I personally think that a lot of people don't know how to define it or don't want to define it. It's more of like a in the back of your head, you're like, nah, that's not it. That ain't it. I ain't going through I ain't depressed. What I'm depressed about. And I think so many people go through it that it's almost like why aren't we talking about this? Like, why aren't we talking about this? It just is so, it's crazy. I have some notes, y'all. I'm always gonna just speak from my heart and speak and just say what I need to say out loud. But I do have notes because I know sometimes I tend to ramble, and I don't want to ramble on this topic. I definitely want to just make sure I'm getting out the points that I wanted to make. So yeah. So first, full transparency, I'm gonna let y'all know my life. So nah, but yeah, so I realized, so basically I just recently got out of the seasonal depression about a couple weeks ago, I would say. Especially, I definitely want to, like, just side note, I really want to make this video because I know, like, the spring is here, it's upon us, things are blooming, you know, the sunlight's coming back out, so this is definitely a perfect time to discuss. Just full transparency, y'all, like, I was actually in a seasonal depression around, it started around, for me, I would say early December. I would say it started for me around the beginning of December. So y'all know I went on my Christmas cruise and everything. And that's something else I need to talk about. Like, functional depression, y'all, is real. Like, functional depression is a real, like, people think because you're out and about, people think because you're out chilling, you still showing up for work, you still hanging with friends, you still in the streets twerking, you still at the gym. People think you have absolutely nothing going on in your life. And I just think that's so, like, that's such a misconception. Like, people just feel like because you are functioning, you're still thriving. Like, people seen I was on vacation, they probably thought nothing of it. But that's typically around the time that it started. So a little bit before my trip, I went on my trip around, well, Christmas time, a few days before Christmas. But mine started a little in the beginning of December. I noticed that, like, things in my life became very dark. Like, I was going through so much happiness, especially around, like, August. Well, I'm pretty much, for the most part, I'm living a good life, living a happy life. But I realized around, like, November-ish, the end of November, I was just getting more, like, closed up. Like, everything was just closing up. I didn't want to be around people as much. I didn't want to deal with certain things as much. I closed off. And y'all, a lot of y'all probably don't know me in my personal life, but I'm very, very blunt and open with how I feel about things. Like, this, I'm typically not I don't keep my emotions to myself. I'm not closed off. I know some people, they're private people, and they, you know, sort of just don't let anyone in, even friends or family, they don't let anyone in. For me, typically, I'm still talking to people. I'm still being myself. I'm still bringing the energy, all of that. But then I noticed around, like, December, it was just a lot going on in my personal relationships. It was a lot going on in my friendships. It was a transition phase for me. Now that I'm out of it, I can say that it was a transition phase. But at the time, I just was like, what is going on? Like, I was so happy a month ago. What happened? Things in my life, I'm just not happy anymore. Everything is just unhappy for me. So I went on my trip, had a good time. Things was even going well with my YouTube. Like, that was the month I got monetized. Like, I felt like everything was good, but at the same time, I couldn't really celebrate that phase because I was in my thoughts a lot. Like, I just was kind of existing. I was going through life. I was in the gym, you know, I was just on my social media. I was posting, you know, things like that. I just appeared to have this great life, right? So fast forward, come back from my trip. I would say around definitely January, like the beginning of this year. It was really bittersweet because the beginning of this year, like, it was so good to me. It was so good. Like, if you look in terms of my career, you know, I was there meeting different people. As far as fitness, I was finally getting out in my fitness community. I was attending more classes. I was being more social. At a point, I would definitely say around January 1st is when it really started to hit me that I was going through a seasonal depression, y'all. Y'all know, if y'all don't already follow me, go follow me on Instagram, SheaMonique_. The gym is my happy space. Sorry, somebody's playing music in the back. The gym is my happy space, y'all. I didn't work out for like 2 weeks straight. And it was crazy because this was probably, but it just started to get cold. And, you know, for the first week, I was just like, I do not feel like getting out of bed. It's cold. I'm tired. You know, this when it started getting dark at like 6:37. you know, you're just like, okay, I don't feel like getting up. It's dark, it's dark, it's dark. Then week 2 comes around, you still not at the gym. Then I noticed I started eating less. Like, it was to the point where literally my cousin had to text me like, did you eat today? Or she'll come in the house and she like, what you ate? I'm like, oh snap, I ain't eat. I did not eat. I wasn't eating, I wasn't going to the gym, or if I was eating, it was junk food, and I'm like, that's not it. You know, I still consider myself to be in a funk. Like, I would still call it a funk. I wasn't calling it what it was. I was still like, funk. Yeah, I'm gonna get out of this. Yeah, I'm in a funk, I'm going through stuff. Okay, y'all, so I don't want to get too deep into, like, you know, the small minor details that contributed to it, but what I could really say is when I started to identify it is when I started going to therapy. Now, many of you know from my last Let's Chat, and I'm gonna link it below, and I'm also gonna link it at the end of this video. Go watch that if you have time. I started my therapy journey. And I've just been more transparent with myself and just what I'm going through. Like, this is my first time actually identifying that I have really bad anxiety. I think for a while, and, you know, not to get down a rabbit hole, but our families and how we grow up and how we're raised means so much. Because as you're getting older, and this is no disrespect to none of my family members or, you know, people I grew up with or anything, because I know some of them do watch my channel, but I think it's not normalized enough. We don't talk about stuff like that. Don't let your kid, I'm from New York, y'all. I'm from New York City, the Bronx. Ain't nobody talking about no depression. Don't let you come to your mom and say you going through depression. They're like, what you depressed about? What you stressed about? What you, like, and it's like, it can literally happen at the age of 6, y'all. Like we need to normalize these types of conversations. We need to allow people to go through their own phases of things and not judge them and not dismiss them. I come from a place where it's not normal to talk about that. And a lot of times, like, especially in New York, go through the most things, like mentally, physically, like we go through a lot. And it's like, I think we're also in a place of like, go and get it. I gotta grind. And we don't really talk about things going on in your head. We don't talk about mental illness. We don't talk about anxiety. We don't talk about depression. Like, it's not a thing. It's like, if you talk about it, sometimes you solve. If you want to discuss certain things about it, you like, shut up. Everything is dismissive. And it's like, sometimes that's not the best route to go, because people grow up and they start dealing. You're going to deal with it either way. And that's what I realized, like, even going through this journey. I'm like, we need to really start having these conversations, because people gonna deal with them either way. They're gonna deal with them when they're a child. They're gonna deal with them when they're in their preteens, they teens. They're gonna deal with it in their early 20s. They're gonna deal with it. I know people now dealing with it at the age of 50. You know, you really are gonna address them at some point in your life. So for me, it's like, we need to, I think it comes deep rooted. It really is deep rooted. I think for a while I was really in denial about I'm like, I'm not depressed. Like I never thought of myself as being depressed, because I was like, no, like I'm still me, I'm still vibing, I'm still bringing the energy. Like, I'm not even thinking about depression. I just always thought it was this negative stigma around depression that's always like, you're depressed, like you're draining, like you're angry, you're ashy, you're crusty. Like, depression always looked like that to me. And I'm not trying to offend anyone, but that's what I thought about when I seen depression. Like, you look depressed. And it's like, literally, as I got older and now being, you know, 25 going on 26 next month, like, well, in May, I'm realizing, like, depression looks like a lot of things. Depression doesn't just look like you being all strung out, you being all down and bad. Sometimes it really just looks like this. It looks like somebody that appears to have their life together, and you're just like somebody from the outside looking in. You wouldn't even think that. So fast forward, you know, I'm not trying to get down a rabbit hole, but I really did want to address that, because part of even talking about this topic is normalizing it. I think, like, we don't talk about it as much. And I know for me, I didn't really talk about this type of stuff until I started getting into therapy. I didn't realize how much my anxiety played into my seasonal depression, because you got to understand, anxiety is fear-based. So a lot of things that I'm going through, I'm talking myself out of them. I'm talking myself out of opportunities. I'm talking myself out of spaces. I'm talking down on my potential. I'm talking negatively about my relationships with people. I'm talking you know, I'm not being in the best headspace. Me not wanting to work out, always saying, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired. Like, girl, at some point you gotta get up. So just the idea, like when people say your thoughts are, you know, you are your thoughts. If I'm constantly like, I'm tired, I don't feel like going to the gym, I'll go back another day, and it's like, okay, then I'm gonna say that again, and I keep saying it every day until now it's become 2-3 weeks, and I haven't trained, I haven't seen my trainer, I haven't seen the gym. Even sometimes in between I was going to the gym, but I wouldn't come in with the best energy. And that's the next thing I want to go into, because I see myself rambling. I ain't even looking at the iPad, y'all. Know when your energy is off. Y'all, know when your energy is off. I think sometimes we want to believe, we want the illusion to, we want to create this illusion that we are our best positive self. And sometimes we are not. See, when you interact with people and you're dry, even if you think you're just, oh, it's nothing to talk about. If you're usually a person that can interact with people and you notice that in social settings, you're pushed back, you're pulled back, you're not interacting as much, you're kind of standoffish, you have to be able to assess your own energy. And I know that comes with time, because I wasn't always able to assess my own energy. Like, I would always just believe that everyone and their mother is tripping. Ain't nothing wrong with me. It's me. But I had to really, as I got, you know, older and I'm more mature, like I had to realize when my energy is off. When my energy is off, I can't surround myself with a group of people because I'm off. And if I don't want people to think that I'm this person that's just gonna bring the energy down or is gonna be negative or whatever, I need to remove myself. And that's not always a bad thing. Like, stop thinking that if you assess your energy and it's not the best, you always want to show up as your best self. Like, you're not going to show up as your best self every day, but you're showing up the best way you can. And if that is not up to a certain standard or up to par or whatever, you want to make sure that you're able to know that and note that, and also be able to just reevaluate. If you do want to be in these spaces, you have to get your energy together. Everyone doesn't deserve your negative energy. And I'm not saying that to say that during your time of depression, like, I don't really like that I isolate myself. But I think it's important to be aware of other people. I think it's unfair to know that you're going through this depression and everyone has to feel your depression. I just think it's unfair. You have to really definitely isolate yourself to a certain extent, but definitely don't put yourself in spaces where your energy can be misinterpreted. Or if you are going through something and you are in these spaces, because these spaces obviously, ultimately should support your journey. So if you are going through something, you should be able to tell somebody. Like, I've told a few people that I was going through some sort of depression and they understood it. So everything that I may be thinking or my thoughts, they actively focus on reshaping them and not allowing me to sit in that and being like, girl, you negative, like, you, girl, I can't, you always got, They're aware of it. So definitely I would say it's a bittersweet type of moment where you have to, one, assess your energy, know when it's off and be able to pull back. But also when you do come back in these spaces, be transparent, be open about it. I know that goes back to my first point, like, we're not talking about these types of things. So you're looking at it from an angle of like, everyone should just understand what I'm going through. And it's like, that's not true. Even outside of seasonal depression, y'all, I just can't stand when people feel like we need to read other people's minds. Like, we need to actively sit there and be like, maybe they're going through something, or maybe, like, no, we don't have, people don't have to do that. So I think if you are going through a seasonal depression, one thing I try to do is the people that matter, definitely the people that matter, y'all. Don't tell everybody y'all business, because everybody is not serving you in the best way. But the people that you can trust and the people that you do consider friends, or, you know, girlfriend, boyfriend, parent, whoever that you can trust, and you know that they love you, you know they love you, right? Someone that you consider best friend, whoever. Make sure you're expressing those thoughts to those people so that they're aware of it. And they're, you know, and these people are not gonna make you feel any type of way. Like people want to know how you feel, because they're not gonna know how you feel. And so definitely knowing when your energy is very, very, very important during this phase in general. Going into like just seasonal depression and how You know, not normal. Like one thing I said like earlier, I didn't want to do things that normally made me happy. Like working out was something that made me happy. Even the slightest things, y'all, like my skincare routine. I was not doing my skincare routine, y'all. Like, and I know a lot of y'all get on this and y'all like, your skin, you flawless. And people in real life is like, what you do to your skin? Y'all, like, I was not doing my routine. I was letting stress take over. I didn't want to do anything. I was going to bed early. And people might be like, you going to bed early, girl? I need some sleep too. But no, you have to know when it's a thing versus, you need to know when it's a thing of like, hey, I want to go to bed early because I'm drained and I had a long day and I need to get some rest and I need to catch up on sleep, versus I'm going to bed early because I just want to be in the darkness. I don't want to go out. I don't want to do anything. And I think those are the differences. And I had to really differentiate. Like now, these days, I go to bed early because I want to. Like, because your girl is tired. Your girl's bones is drained. But at first, I was really just going to bed because I didn't want to do anything else. Like, I just wanted to lay in the bed. I wanted to be very lazy, very unproductive. Yeah, that was it. Like, that was it. It wasn't no catch-22, nothing. It was that in itself. I wanted to be in the dark. I didn't want to go out. And, you know, it is what it is. But even when it comes to that, like, I don't know if y'all can see, I have so many blackheads on my chest. I have a lot of blackheads on my chest now, but I would say around January, and I just recently looked back at it, so I'm able to speak about it now. But y'all, I started breaking out, and for those of y'all who don't know me personally, I don't break out typically. Like, my skin has always pretty much been clear my entire life. And I'm not saying that to brag or anything. Like, I'm really just letting y'all know, like, I've always had really good skin. Even my skin, like my legs, they're pretty good. Like, I mean, I'm not breaking out my legs or nothing. But y'all, right in this area, y'all, I was breaking out bad. I think I'm gonna insert some pictures just so y'all can see like how it was literally a month before that and how it just drastically started forming. Like, I had pimples everywhere. So sometimes they appear on your chest and not necessarily on your face. And I had to Google that because I'm like, why do I have chest pimples? But y'all, neither here nor there. It was stress related. I was allowing this phase that I was in and, you know, just all the stress going on in my life and all the different stressors to affect me. And it started affecting my appearance. Like, I didn't even notice it got out of control until around February. I was like, why do I have all these pimples and blackheads? Like, it was ridiculous. I don't even know if it's clearing up. It's probably, yeah, I was working out really, really bad. But yeah, y'all, like, you have to notice differences in your body, changes in your body, changes in your mood, changes in your behavior, changes your interactions with other people. Like I said, you know, you want to make sure that you're being aware of like how to identify that you're even in a season of depression. Like, sometimes it's so, you know, the lines get so blurred, you might not be able to really identify it and know like, hey, I'm going through something. You know, so for me, that, even though that's something so small to people, like, oh, a pimple, like, get out of here, I'm not used to breaking out. Yeah, I don't break out. So that should have been a sign to me as well that I'm stressed, or I need to maybe go see a dermatologist. Or when I went to the doctor the beginning of this year, I should have let them know, like, hey, stuff like that. I think you definitely need to be aware of your body, be aware of your mind, your thoughts, your negative thoughts, be aware of your energy. And I know that's a lot to do at once, especially when you're going through a depression. You're not thinking about nothing. You're thinking about anything, but I'm just letting you know if you do feel like, you know, things are off. Like, when you notice that things like that are off, take note to it, take heed to it. You definitely want to, during this time, remember that it's temporary. Like, what you're going through is literally temporary. It's not gonna last forever. The storm doesn't last forever. And I know a lot of people personally in my personal life that go through seasonal depressions. Typically, this is actually my first time going through it, I guess. Like, now that I think back, I technically went through a seasonal depression until this year. Like, this is my first time ever going through it, but I'm also going through a transition phase. So for me, like, just now seeing it, it was very shocking to me. Like, it threw me off. Like, I don't know, like, it was just really uncomfortable at the time. But people that I know that actually go through seasonal depressions every time of the year at the same time, it's normal, you know. And then when, you know, now we're in spring, stuff is blooming, the light is out, the days are longer, the sunlight's out. I noticed that this is the time where everyone gets out of this season of depression, and it's by definition, this is the time. This is the time where everyone that was in this dark space or was experiencing a lot of darkness is getting out of that. It's getting hotter, you know, those are typical things that, you know, but just remember that it's temporary. Remember that as you're going through it, it's not gonna last long. You may cry. I know for me, I cried a lot. I wasn't really sure what was going on. Like, you know, I just felt like I needed to just isolate. I just needed to be alone. I just wanted to cry. I cried in my bed a lot. I was stressed out a lot, especially around January, February. I was very stressed out. One thing I did to kind of get out of it, at least to start, because I told y'all a couple weeks ago, I recently just declared myself out of it. But at the time, I had to really find things that made me happy again. Like, I think for me, part of getting back in the fitness space was definitely making an effort. Like I was saying about the last year, I definitely tried to make fitness fun. Like that's always my thing. I love going to classes. I love going to those type of interactive workouts, you know. Those are things that I had to really tap back into. Like make fitness fun. Don't make it such a chore. Like if I already am in this funk and I don't want to if I'm already in a funk and I do want to get back in the gym, sometimes just going back to the gym is not enough, because you still have to bring your energy to the gym. You still have to want to work out. So making fitness fun definitely created a happier space for me. It was definitely an outlet, definitely when it came back to finding my happy space. YouTube was a happy space for me, because after the time I got monetized, which was late November, early December, I was like, okay, what direction do I want for my channel? That was like a way for me to kind of get my creative juices flowing again. Like, what do I want to start? What type of content do I want to start putting out? What type of videos do I want to start putting out? What message do I want to put out to people? Who do I want to impact? Who do I want to touch? Those are things that I started to think about. Now, I didn't go ahead and just put videos out all crazy, but I've definitely been planning. This is why now these days it's so much more easier for me to just do this and just talk about my thoughts, because at the end of the day, I've analyzed this for so long. I've thought about, this is temporary. I need to plan for when I do get out. What am I going to do? I need to hit the ground running. I did step back from my business, my nutrition business. That was something that I noticed. But for me, part of getting back into that space where I actually enjoyed helping people get on their meal plans and doing all of that, was definitely getting into myself. You know, I was very transparent with some of my clients. Like, y'all, I was in a funk. Okay, well, that's what I said. I was in a funk, and it's hard for me to help y'all with y'all goals, and I'm not even helping myself with my goals. I'm not even in the gym. I'm not even drinking my shakes. You know what I mean? I stopped drinking my shakes in the morning. I stopped being as consistent as I wanted to. So how can I run a business helping y'all and I can't help myself? So when I did hit the ground running, I was planning for all of this, you know? When I hit the ground running, I hit up all my old clients, and I can't ask them to just be like, hey, get back into it. You know, I have to slowly let them come back to me. And I think definitely working on myself, getting in therapy, definitely trying to identify it and get a hold and get a grip on this seasonal depression was something that now is helping my business kind of get back into a flow of people trusting me. Because I know literally for 2 months, I think I left everyone on MIA. Like, I was MIA. I left everybody on red. Like, I was not hitting clients up. I wasn't checking in. And normally I typically check in like twice a week, 2 or 3 times a week, depending on who you are. And I stopped reaching out. I stopped, wanting to interact. Like, I would send a text, but I wouldn't text back, things like that. And for me, I'm not an inconsistent person. I don't like being inconsistent. I don't like being up and down with people, in and out with people. Like, we either locked in or we not. And so for me, I definitely had to get myself together if I wanted to run my business the way I wanted to run it. So that was part of finding my happy space with that, again, was really just working on myself, getting into the gym, and allowing people to kind of gravitate back towards me and letting people know I'm still here as a resource. I'm still here for you, but not forcing people because now I'm out of a funk and I want to get back to it. Like, I have to allow people to gravitate towards my newfound energy, if that makes sense. I think I want to say about it's kind of going back to the first few points, y'all. But something I want to give just as advice, stop diminishing it. Stop diminishing what you're going through to fit everyone else's narrative. Like, everyone's narrative is, oh, like, even when it comes to like certain friends, I know certain friends, you know, and I just hope, you know, after a while, like, we get back into, you know, a place of speaking and getting back into the groove of just like getting back, you know, like we never left. But certain friends, y'all, like, this whole narrative of not texting back, this whole idea of feeling like you gotta be superwoman and let everybody know, or if people see you on social media, you're not going through nothing. Y'all, I was still on social media. That's why some of the people that probably do follow me on social media probably looking at this video like, girl, you was what? Stop letting this narrative of you gotta be down and bad, or you gotta be MIA or whatever to allow you to feel the way you feel, or allow you to be transparent with your journey and what you're going through. You know what I mean? I know for me, I wasn't as active on social media as I normally am, but I was still on social media, y'all. And just as a tip, like, everybody's not like me. Everyone is not. I would say when it comes to social media, try to, well, first know what type of person you are when it comes to this, because I know for some people, they have to delete the app. Like, for a point in time, I deleted my app. I deleted my app a few times. Now, it wasn't a long period of time where I went MIA for a month or something, but it was definitely like a week I was not on Instagram. A week at a time, 3 days at a time. And that was what I wanted to do. That was what was needed. Stop feeling like you have to fit in this type of box that, you know, if you're on social media, that you're not a good this, and why you're on social media and not texting me back. Be transparent with the people that love you, because people that really get into that way of trying to like clock you and don't even have the nerve to ask you how you've been, but want to check you, those are not your people. So when I said earlier, let your people know what you're going through, those type of people that try to put you in a box during that time and put you and raise your anxiety even more. And I'm talking about family members too, because there was a few family members that was just like, oh, where you been at, and you not answering this. I don't want to talk right now, because you do not help. You don't help the situation. All I can let you know is I'm gonna get back to you when I can. I let some people know I'm gonna get back to you when I can, and that's that. You don't owe nobody nothing. This is your mental health. You're going through your own time, and I think the people that contribute to your growth and contribute, and you know, that love you and contribute to you being in a healthier mindset will get it. You don't have to over explain. You don't have to let them know what you've been doing. You don't have to let them know anything. You know what I mean? The people that need to know will know. Those type of people that bring that type of energy where you have to overly explain, and your anxiety already through the roof and your depression already through the roof, they make it worse. They give you more anxiety. They make you feel more obligated to explain yourself. And you're at a point where you almost can't even explain it to yourself. So how can I really explain this to you? You know what I mean? So definitely, I had a few people in my life that see me on social media moving around and moving and shaking, and didn't even know I'm in my bed that night crying. Don't even know, but want to judge me about a text. Like, I can't do it. I really can't. I can't. Like, I really had to, and it's not a thing about cutting people off. It's more of a thing of just like isolating those types of people, because that's just noise. It's honestly just noise. When you're going through a phase where you really don't know what's going on, and you're trying to get a grip on even getting out the house and going to do your daily routines, and you got somebody in your ear rah-rah about this and text and Insta, I don't got time for stuff like that. So they definitely can make it worse, and you really have to block out the noise, because during this time you already have a lot of thoughts and negative thoughts in your head, and you do not need additional people feeding you negative energy or feeding you negative thoughts. So definitely try to have, you know, detach from social media if you have to, you know, detach from people if you have to. You know, those people that understand, you'll pick back up like you never left, and that's just what it is. So definitely keep that in mind as you're going through something. As a person that did go through a seasonal depression, I do want to give some advice to people that are on the outside looking in. Like, if you're not going through a season of depression, but you have a friend or a family or a girlfriend or a boyfriend or anybody, a best friend going through a season of depression, I would definitely say as advice, one, give them grace. I would definitely say give them grace. Like, don't hold them to this pedestal. And I used to do that with people, and I'm gonna be fully transparent. Like, I used to do that with people because, like I told y'all, this is the first time I really identified my seasonal depression and have like fully went through a cycle of seasonal depression this year. Before, like, I probably had moments where I was, you know, now that I'm older and I can think about it, I was depressed, but at the time I didn't. At the time, no. So when my friends were going through depression and, you know, they were going through their own things, like, I literally put them on a pedestal. And not a pedestal, like, because of it. But what I'm saying, like, I put them on a pedestal where I was that person. I was that person. I would be like, what's going on? Like, what you stressed about? But that also takes me to my first point. Like, these conversations are not normal in life with people, amongst friends, amongst families, amongst partners. You can tell your partner that you're depressed or your anxiety is high, and it's like they will still do things to stress you out. Like, that's not cool. Like, it's not cool. You have to really listen to people in your life. One thing I never really like as I'm getting older is like how, and I know I don't have kids, so, you know, don't forgive me on the little, you know, because people with kids hate people without kids, tell them what to do, how to do it. I can't stand seeing people not listening to their kids. Like, it irks me because I get it. I get the seniority thing, but stop it. A lot of these kids went through history in 2020, y'all. 2020/2021. We have never dealt with that ever when we were in school. These kids have social anxiety. These kids aren't... They went through their own period of isolation. A lot of them got depressed being in the house with y'all. Parents were stressed. A lot of people were depressed. You got your kids there with you, seeing you depressed. You go through this, seeing you angry, and you think they go through nothing? You think they have nothing to say about nothing? Like, they don't deserve to have feelings about anything? Come on, we gotta do better with our kids. Like, and I'm saying our kids because we are a community. Like, we are each other. We're literally, what I've noticed over time is, like, there's a lot of broken people sort of existing in this world. I just think sometimes, like, it's so easy to just act like you're the only one stressed. These kids went through a lot, and I'm not saying like they got bill stress and all that stuff, but they have social stress. A lot of them haven't seen their friends in a year, or they haven't been in a school setting. They don't even know what it feels like. Some people don't even know what it feels like to be in a school setting. It starts at home. It starts when you're a child. You know, you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna deal with it at some point. So we definitely need to normalize these conversations. But another thing I would say for people that are on the outside looking in, if they're open to it, ask people what they need. Like I said, we're not mind readers. People are not mind readers. And I think it's unfortunate that when you're going through a season of depression that you want to isolate and you just want to be alone and you don't want to talk to nobody. But it is important to let your people know what you need. So when it came to, like, I'll give a prime example. I know my parents are watching. Hey, y'all. So for them in particular, like, I would let them know, look, I can't talk right now. I'm going to call you back tomorrow. Or I can't answer the phone right now, you know, whatever. Or me and my dad, you know, he'll send me some Bible scriptures. I love you. Keep it moving. Like, those are the things that I needed. And I didn't need any unnecessary stress. If my mom is on the phone and she's talking about certain things, you know, literally that I don't care about. I'm not even being funny. Like, I don't care about. Like, I really can't add anything else onto this. I would let her know, like, I really don't want to talk about this. Like, can we talk about something else? You know, creating those boundaries are important because I think we just sit around and we feel obligated to people, especially our parents. Like, I necessarily didn't grow up in that space where I felt like I couldn't say anything to my parents. Like, I've always pretty much had open conversations with my parents. Like, it was never a thing of, can't say this, so I'm afraid I'm gonna get in trouble. Like, it was never that. I didn't grow up in that type of household. So I can't speak for everybody, but I will say that I'm at a level now, especially as an adult, like I have to create boundaries with my parents. I have to create boundaries with family members. I have to create boundaries with friends. And I think definitely it's so interesting because I'm gonna do a separate video because this is not the video for it. But I did my vision board at the beginning of this year, and literally I mapped out this year. And so far, we're getting to the end of Q1. I have pretty much hit everything on my Q1 list. On the Q1 side of my board, I pretty much hit a lot of it. It was a whole lot of deep diving into myself. It was a whole lot of therapy. It was a whole lot of self-care. It was a whole lot of get me together so that I'm able to do those other things that I want to do. There's no way I can have this successful life and I'm not in the right headspace. There's no way I can get all these opportunities, these abundance of opportunities, and I'm not in my best headspace. There's no way I can continue to flourish and do what I want to do on this YouTube channel if I'm not in my best headspace. There's no way I can be in a relationship. There's no way I can be in a friendship. There's no way I can be in a good child to my parents, or be a good brother, or be a good sister to my brother or my sister, and you know, a good auntie to my nephew and nieces, unless I'm in the right headspace. There's no way that can happen. I just think that was a big part of it. Like, as I'm now like into this newfound energy and I'm like looking at my vision board, I'm like, let's go, Shay, let's go. I be having to hype myself up, y'all, because I feel like sometimes literally like I have to, because it's like I came so far. Like, as I'm looking at it, literally I have on there like self-care, like therapy. Therapy was a big thing, and I know like I keep speaking about it, and by the way, I just want to make a little disclaimer. I don't like how the girls on Instagram be playing around with therapy. Y'all need to stop. It's not cute. It's really not cute. Like, that I'm making is like, I seen this post, especially in the beginning of the year, like, the girls are in therapy, the girls is doing this, the girls is doing that. Like, but I know some of y'all in real life and y'all not in therapy. Like, stop posting stuff like that. Stop playing around with therapy. I think for a person that goes to therapy, I can't stand people throw it out as a way to just be toxic and promote nonsense. You know, I even see like people say like, you need therapy or go seek help, or, you know, when it has to do with some weird toxic stuff. It's like, stop throwing that in there. Yeah, people, I do recommend everyone go get therapy, but I'm saying it in a serious way. It's something that you have to be willing to commit to. And when people just throw it out there as like, go get therapy, or go, you know, they throw in therapy as therapy is work. Therapy is, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little, I know how much therapy is done for me, and I just hate to see people play around with it like it's a trend. Like, oh yeah, go get therapy, black girl luxury, the girls are in therapy. Like, no, are the girls really in therapy? Like, stop playing around with therapy. Like, if you really in therapy, big ups to you. But if you not, stop playing around with it. Like, it's a real thing. It's real work. It's not something to just repost. It's not a post. It's not a trend. This is our life. This is people's lives. Like, so I don't play around with my life. So when it comes to my life and my livelihood, and when I'm learning about myself and constantly digging deeper, because to be honest, a lot of people will repost that the girls are in therapy and really still be doing toxic stuff in real life. Like, it doesn't really go hand in hand. Like, you either healing or you not. I'm healing, and I said that in my last video, but I'm not healed. I'm not all the way healed. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but I still wouldn't even consider myself like fully healed. I'm healing. I'm in the process. It's still a process. So I do get annoyed when I see things like that on Instagram, when it's just trendy. Like, oh yeah, therapy this, therapy that, healing this, healing that. Like, it's not funny. It's a real thing, and people deal with it, and people are actually healing and doing the work. So I commend you if you are watching this and you are in therapy and you are doing the work. Even if you're not in therapy but you're doing the work, big ups to you, because it's a real thing to really sit back and say, I need help. And I want help, and I want better for myself, and I want to do better for myself. It's a big thing. It's a big commitment. You can't play around with that. You can't sit around and just throw it out there for likes and throw it around there for nothing. Like, it's a real thing. I definitely, like, as somebody that does go to therapy, like, I can speak and I can attest to it really works. Once you're ready to do the work, because you can sit on anybody's couch, you can sit on anybody's Zoom call, but if you're not ready to do the work, it's almost pointless. I'm not gonna say it's completely pointless, because you do, you know, people use therapy for different things and people want different things out of therapy, but That's neither here nor there, y'all. But definitely make sure that you're asking people what they need. Don't judge. It's not a time to be judgy. This is not a time to be judgy. This is not a time to be judgy. This is actually the worst time to be judgy. Y'all comment down below. Like I said, I wanted this to be an open-ended question. I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable. Like, you know, I want to create a safe space. I know I do have like some trolls, and I be blocking y'all because I don't care. You know, I had a few people that said I talk too much. I don't care. Click off. It's free to click. It's free to click. How about you click the back button if it's that bothersome? I really don't care. Like, I feel like I want to create a space, and I want that. Like, when I thought about how I wanted people to approach my channel, like, I didn't want it to be so travel because your girl don't travel all year round. So I do go through stuff. I do have things that I'm going through, and I do want to be a space for people. Like, people go through so much, and I think that it's so easy to be dismissive and make it look like you live in this life. And I've never been a fan of people being living a certain life and putting a certain different life out on social media. Like, I went through a depression. I'm better now. I'm healing. I'm in therapy. I'm, you know, being in more productive spaces. I'm focusing on my health, my wealth. I didn't know why I just laughed, but you know, I'm focusing on my results in the gym. I'm focusing on my business. I'm focusing on, you know, my YouTube, building my community, building my audience. And I think that that's just the real me. You know what I mean? Comment down below if you have went through, if you got some more tips. I know I probably left out so much in this video, but you know, definitely if you have any tips for people, or you know, want to add anything, or if you just want to, you know, send some love, you know, y'all always say leave a brown heart in the comments, because that's becoming my new favorite emoji. But a heart in the comments, and just let me know how you feel about the video. Like, I definitely wanted to come on here and just be transparent, and you just give advice also, like getting out of it. Like, you know, I hope everybody that is still currently going through it gets out of it and finds their happy space. You know, focus on finding your happy space, whatever that may be. Literally, whatever that may be. It might not be what society puts out there. You know, people may give you this you know, throw out the word self-care, but self-care is what it looks like to you. It doesn't necessarily look like you at the spa and getting facials and stuff. It might be you getting into reading. Maybe you reading more books. Maybe you expanding your mindset. Maybe you going to museums. Like, whatever that is for you, tap into that, tune into that. Be more open to conversations like this. Talk about this type of stuff with your parents, your household, because it's real. And I think also, just, you know, from what I've been seeing in the news and things, like, a lot of people are unhinged. Mental health is real. Like I know that's another thing outside of therapy that people throw out as gimmicky. Like, this whole idea of mental health, like, really be about mental health. Be good people. You know, don't wait until somebody is, you know, God forbid, pass, or somebody, you know, takes themselves, you know, I don't want to like say too much, but don't wait until that to be like, oh yeah, maybe I should have been nice to this person, or maybe I should have asked them how they were doing. Like, just be a good person in real life. Ask people how they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, don't go out your way to be mean to people. Don't go out your way to be stank to people. You know, if somebody speaks to you, speak back. It's cool. Like, so I just think those are just ways that you can, you know, just be a better person in society. We already have a lot of people out here that's unhinged. You know, so many things happening in the news. People anger is at 1,000. People's patience is thin. People's patience are running thin these days. When I'm driving out here in Atlanta, I'm just like, y'all be mad and honking about the wrong stuff. Y'all need to be honking because somebody's sitting at the green light too long. Y'all honking because it's traffic and somebody trying to get over and it's a turning lane. Well, let them over. I mean, what is it gonna do for you? You ain't moving anywhere. But y'all honking. I'm sorry. Y'all be good people. be a light in this life, because we need more of it. And I'm off this. So if you made it to the end of the video, like I said, do what you do. Comment down below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Like I said, it really does help the algorithm when you like my videos, interact with my videos. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I think we at 1.2K, 1,200. I'm trying to get to 1,300 by my trip. Actually, by my birthday. By my birthday, I'm trying to get to 1,300. So yeah, we're gonna make it. I think I need how many? Like 500, 250. I'm just throwing out numbers. I think I need I think I need 250 more subscribers. I think I need 250 more subscribers. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you clicked on this video, I appreciate it. And I'm out. So I'll see y'all next time.